Good morning, everybody, and glad to have you here today. And if you want to follow along, we'll be in the 10th chapter of Proverbs again, and we'll be looking just one verse this morning, verse 17. And in that verse, Solomon says these words: He is in the way of life that keepeth instruction, but he that refuseth reproof erreth. And so, kind of in the middle of what he has been talking about, he drops in again a little warning, again showing, as he has numerous times, the choice we make, and then the danger of actually rejecting the wisdom of God. We saw that in the previous verse when he said, "The fruit of the wicked to sin." That the labor of the righteous tendeth to life, the fruit of the wicked is to sin. And now he says, He is in the way of life that keepeth instruction. So he's again just reminding his son that there is a choice and that there are, consequences to those choices. And if we want to be wise, he says, then we follow the instruction that God gives us, that we respond to the correction that God sends into our life when we are disobedient. We respond to the discipline. Many of us, if we're honest, we can look back and think back to childhood and think of times when parents would correct us and discipline us, and we'll go right back and do the exact same thing. And at the time, we probably thought we were pretty smart. But in hindsight, just saying that, thinking about that reminds us that's not a very, very smart road to choose. When you're disciplined for something, to turn right around and go back to it. And that's what Solomon is talking about. A wise man, he learns. He learns when he is corrected. He learns when he gets counsel and wisdom. But the wicked man continues down the same path that caused him trouble to begin with. And the wise man will keep the instruction. He will be a model for others to follow and to look at how he governs his life. Whereas the foolish man is a model as well. He is a model of how not to do things. And again, as we look back over our life, I'm sure if we go back into younger days and maybe even still today, we know people, we have acquaintances who live their life in a way that is a lesson. It's definitely a lesson to us. It tells us don't do it that way. That we learn from their mistakes. And in fact, verse 17, the word erreth there at the end. Many of the Hebrew scholars, those who study Hebrew, include as part of the definition that not only they go astray, but they lead others in that same way. And so, unfortunately, many people, again, we have that person or group of people in our life who don't follow wisdom, and hopefully we see their example and learn not to live our life that way. But unfortunately, many times, especially among, I guess, probably young people, but not just young people, the wicked, those that refuse counsel, end up leading others down that same road. And as we go through our day, we're surrounded by those two kinds of examples. We have people around us we'll come into contact with today who are living their life according to Scripture and according to the wisdom of God. And then we have those, as Solomon calls them, that refuse reproof or refuse instruction. And very simply, we're going to be measured as either a wise man or a foolish man by how we respond to discipline, how we respond to discipline. That if we keep going back and doing the same thing over and over and over, we there's no way to measure that but to say that a person is foolish, that they're not very very wise in what they're doing. If you keep going back and getting the same bad results in your life, then that's not a very smart decision that we have made. And as we go through our life, as we go through today, we may come into situations where we make bad choices. The goal, the desire of Solomon is that we would learn from those situations, and we wouldn't go back and repeat them, and we would teach others the same lesson so that they don't have to fall in to that position of discipline. And two very different paths we can take. We can either respond positively to the instruction and the wisdom of God, or we can reject it and deal with the consequences. And unfortunately, and something we should remember is many times when we ignore the wisdom of God, we influence others. Not only are we going to have to stand before God and give an account, but we're going to have an influence on other people, perhaps our own children, who see us making those kinds of decisions. Something for us to think about today. Are we following the path, the way of life of instruction, or are we ignoring the wisdom and the counsel of God? Hope you'll think about that today and let it guide you through life's roads. Have a good one. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.